All right, guys, it is Tuesday, March 7th, 2023, and today marks 0 days for anything. I don't have a deadline, which is kind of out of the ordinary for me. I like having deadlines on stuff because it kind of gets me off my butt and gets me out here working on things, and I get a lot done. So when I don't have a deadline, I usually kind of just piddle a little bit, you know what I mean? So you haven't seen any videos from me in a week or so, probably 2 weeks actually, because I've been doing body filler work on my wife's 55 four-door. Nobody wants to watch a video of somebody sanding body filler for 10 or 15 minutes, I promise you. I don't. There's plenty of other videos on YouTube if you're that bored and want to watch somebody sanding body filler. But I'm not going to be posting any videos of that. And I've got a lot of body work to do. Once I get the body shell done, I've got to do the deck lid, all 4 doors, and the entire front clip. So you're not going to see some videos from me, probably not much more videos this month. So it's going to be a pretty dry month for me on my channel, I can tell you that right now. So it should be raining here any second. It has gotten really cold here, well, not super cold, but the temperature's dropping, the wind's picking up. It's supposed to rain. We have had beautiful weather the last few days, 70s, 80-degree temps, man. And I gotta tell you, when it's really nice outside, it really helped fire me up on that hardtop. So if you haven't been following along on the channel, I was working on the 2-door hardtop trying to get it ready for Starboard's car show in Tulsa, which was middle of last month, and I didn't make it. I didn't get the car done. So I was burnt out. Didn't want to mess with it, didn't want to touch it. So I've been working on my wife's 55 four-door. However, this past weekend was my wife's weekend to go to her mother's, so she stayed the weekend with her mom. So I decided I would surprise her and do a bunch of work on the 55 hardtop. And when she got home Sunday evening, to take her for her very first ride in the hardtop, because she's not rode in this car yet. 10-year project, and she hasn't rode in it yet. So when she came in Sunday evening, did that very thing. Took her for a ride around the housing addition, and she had a grin from ear to ear. So it was worth it. But I worked the whole weekend on the hardtop. So I'm going to run you through what I did here. Don't be thinking it's done, because it's not done. I still don't have the flippers done. I still don't have the hood done. I still don't have the trunk upholstery done. But the door panels are on. The garnish moldings are on with new felt strips. The lock knobs, the window cranks. The seats backs are in. The only thing left is them stupid seat shells, man. And if you don't know what a seat shell is, that's these deals here. There's 4 pieces for a 2-door seat. This seat shell is the lower, and this is actually for the other side, but it goes on here. And that's what it does. You screw it on there and it hides all that ugliness on that seat down there. So anyway, this is the only one that's upholstered. I have to do 3 more of them. And then there's this guy right here that goes up the back here to hide all this ugly. So anyway, I have to upholster these. I had to buy a staple gun this morning that will fit down in here to these tack strips. It has tack strips stapled in there, but I can't get my staple gun wouldn't fit down in there, so I went and bought a shallow topped one. This is pretty awesome. But the only thing left is seat belts and seat shells, and the interior is done. I did finish the seat back here. I had a pretty big gap in between the seat and the rear armrest back there, and I'd used chrome kill mat on the wheel tubs, and you could see chrome shining through between the seat and the armrest. So anyway, I ended up bending the armrest bases out to meet the seat better, and then I used 3-inch wide strips of black carpet and spray glued it down the wheel tub and up the side of the armrest here, so it pretty much just blacks it out. I have black chrome Dynamat on the entire roof and all of the floor of the car, but I didn't have any more left to do the wheel tub and stuff, so I ended up using some kill mat that I had here. But anyway, that just blacked it out, and you know, bending the armrest kind of took the void out there. But anyway, so I'm real happy with it now. It's finally coming together, and I'm happy with it, you know what I mean? It's not perfection, but for a guy doing the upholstery work himself, I'm pretty happy with it, man. I'm really happy with it. I can tell you that the biggest challenge was the ignition switch. I did change the ignition switch out because I was having an issue with the original. Anyway, I did do some video clips of the ignition switch because I had to build a bracket and modify the dash to make it work. So I'm gonna put those video clips together and put a video together, and I'll post that probably tomorrow because there's probably other guys that want to use that ignition switch. I can tell you for sure, if you have an original ignition switch in your car, your 55, 6, or 7, or a reproduction one, because I do have a guy I know that was having this issue with a reproduction one. If you go to shut your car off and it engages the flex plate like it's trying to start when you're shutting it off, your ignition switch is faulty. Mine was intermittent, like 1 out of every 5 times I went to shut the key off when the car was running, it would barely tap that flex plate, like just make that sound, just enough to embarrass you at the gas station or at your buddy's place, you know what I mean? So if you're having that issue, you need to change your ignition switch. It's not a backfeeding problem, it's your ignition switch. You could have a backfeeding problem, but I knew I didn't have one because I've used this exact same fan and this exact same wiring harness on this car as I've always done on all my other Tri-5s. So this is the first time I have used an original ignition switch on one of my Tri-5 projects, and it bit me in the butt. So I'll never do it again. The reproduction of the original ignition switches, they don't have a good track record either, so I don't recommend them. You can run them if you want, but I always use the universal cheap ones, and they always work great. You just have to do a little mods to the dash to make them work. So I did something different on this car, and it worked out pretty nice. So I've drove the crap out of the car this weekend. I've started it and shut it off probably 30, 35 times, and it ain't engaged the flex plate 1 time. So my issue is fixed. So anyway, that is my weekend in a nutshell. Done some upholstery work, got the ignition switch changed out, got the transmission fluid put back in the car, put some more gas in it. The gas gauge did come up a little bit. If you've been following along, my gas gauge, I put a couple gallons in it and the gauge never come up off the, below empty mark. It didn't even move. And I put 3 more gallons in it and now it come up a little bit. So gas gauge does work. Probably not going to read accurately, but at least when I know it's on E, there's a few gallons left in it, which is a good thing. However, I need to fill it up to see, once it's full, where it actually reads. But I'm happy, man. The car's back mobile again. I can actually drive it if I need to. So it has been fun driving it around a little bit. But I need to get back on this car. We need this car. I need to get this car done pretty quick. So I've got a lot of work to do this 4-door, man. But anyway, that is your update on the 255s. And again, I've got another video coming out probably tomorrow of putting in a universal ignition switch in one of these cars in the factory location in the dash. And I will tell you, that ignition switch is a Borg-Warner switch, and the part number is CS7, CAT-SAM7. Very easy to remember. Now, at my local O'Reilly's, I think they're like 30 bucks, but you can find them all day long on the internet. The cheaper version of it, and it's the same switch for like 15 bucks. So anyway, that's your update. Thanks for watching.